Welcome to the Big Success Show. Today, we'll share 2 main criteria of success.
Big Success with the Professor and Mary-Lynn.
Now, in order to understand the 2 main criteria of success, I want you to do something. Think about an ice cream soda.
Okay, can I think about a shake? Because I'm not really into the ice cream soda. Okay, all right.
That's the example, Mary-Lynn. Come on, it's good.
I just never liked ice cream and soda together, but for the purposes of this podcast, I'm going to pretend I like it.
There you go. I got a nice big root
ice
beer
cream
float
soda
from
and
me.
the straw.
And the straw. So you got to picture, you jumped ahead on me. You got to think about the ice cream soda, and now picture the straw that comes with it.
Okay.
One is nice, the other is necessary. Hi, I'm George Kruger, a.k.a. The Professor.
And I'm Mary-Lynn. In the wonderful book, Success is Within You. That's an oldie but a goodie.
Oh, it is.
In fact, that is in the Big Success Vault. Our vault of timeless treasures.
That's right.
And this book, Success is Within You, by Howard J. Whitman, uses an analogy to illustrate a point about what he calls the 2 main criteria of success. And he talks about the straw and the ice cream soda, which the professor alluded to.
Yes, and what he said was, if you want to fully enjoy an ice cream soda, Mary-Lynn, that's for you. If you want to fully enjoy it, maybe you just got the wrong flavor.
Okay.
You need to try a different flavor, Mary-Lynn. But if you want to fully enjoy an ice cream soda, it's nice to have the ice cream and the straw.
Yeah.
But if you're only going to have one, which would you rather have?
Well, the ice cream soda, of course.
Well, of course, the ice cream soda, right? It's better to have that than to just have the straw, because the straw by itself doesn't really mean much.
I mean, I could hit you with spit wads, but there's nothing else I can do with the straw.
And that's very unproductive, Mary-Lynn. Let's keep this in mind. I've seen my share of spitballs standing at the front of the class. No, I'm kidding.
I was actually never able to do that. I know some people could do that so perfectly, like jing. No, I was never. Anyway,
you just need the right pen.
But I digress. So getting back to this analogy, first of all, so what does the straw represent in this criteria of success?
The straw is about when other people think you are a big success. It's how others define success for you.
And then what is the ice cream?
The all-important ice cream is when you feel like you're a big success, when you feel like your definition of success has been achieved.
And that's a big difference between the two. You know, so often people live their lives for the accolades of others.
Absolutely.
And then feel empty in the end. So the point is that this is all about you.
Precisely. It's all about you. It's singular. It's even individualistic. Now, if you're a longtime listener, you know we're always talking about service to others. That's big. It's a huge part of big success.
Right.
You add value in the lives of other people, and in so doing, you create value in your own life. We believe that strongly. But when it comes to defining yourself, when it comes to defining your success, it's so very important that you define it for yourself, because you're the only person who can really figure out what truly is going to make you feel like a big success.
True. And that goodness comes from the inside out, right? So you have to feel successful on the inside. And so it's up to you to find the answers to lots of questions like, what makes you happiest?
Yeah, because, ultimately, once again, other people probably have a definition of what's going to make you happy, and they'll gladly tell you what's going to make you happy.
Right.
But what they're really doing is they're telling you what's going to make them happy. And so while we have to serve others and do things at times that maybe are not our vision of the perfect way to spend our time, but at the same time, we have to make sure that we're giving ourselves enough time, because that's where our juice continues to flow from, is when we're happy, we tend to produce more.
So what makes you happiest, George?
Mary-Lynn.
Aw, you took mine, because I was going to say, not me, I was going to say you.
Well, then you shouldn't have asked a question, Mary-Lynn. You should have made a statement.
I guess. Look, there's the professor with a wonderful lesson for all to learn on my behalf. No, I mean, I'm happiest when I get to work with you every day, and I'm happiest getting to work on this business every day. And I'm super happy when I get to walk along an ocean. I don't get to do that every day, but we're working towards that.
That's right. Exactly.
All right. Another question to ask yourself. How do you want to spend the most valuable resource you have, your time?
This one actually comes from a friend of ours, Lisa Cree, who once said that I don't have time is not a statement of fact, it's a statement of priorities. And that's what this is really saying. When you think about success and defining success, how are you spending your time? That's a really important thing. You talk about walking on the beach, Mary-Lynn.
Right.
That is a huge part of our definition of success. Other people would want to live in the mountains, or they want to live in the desert, or, whatever. But for us, our definition is walking on the beach.
I guess getting back to the question about how we want to spend the most valuable resource, our time. So then that also goes into the work that I'm doing today.
Exactly.
Helps me be able to spend that time, maybe not today, but later on down the road to where I really want to be.
Exactly. You got it.
Another question to ask yourself. Where does your passion lie?
I still remember a class where our guest speaker was asking my students.
And just to rewind for our first-time listeners, your class at the University of Illinois, you teach...
entrepreneurial finance.
Right, hence the professor and Mary-Lynn.
Yes, and so one of my guest speakers was asking one of my students, or asking my students, about what jobs they want and what jobs they're getting and that kind of stuff. And one of my students was going off to a financial analyst position at an investment banking company. I mean, this would be kind of a typical pathway for my students. But the speaker kind of drilled down a little bit and says, well, but what makes you happy? What are you passionate about? What really sets you on fire? And finally, after several prods, my student said, I want to be a football coach. Well, that came out of nowhere, right? I mean, here's a business student, and he wants to be a football coach. And so the point is, a lot of people spend their entire life going into the positions that they're told to go into. And, for a lot of people, that works out. That's fine. That's what they really want to do. They love the stuff. But other people kind of follow the herd without even realizing they're following the herd. And that's something important for you to realize is, are you truly passionate about what you're doing? And if not, what can you do to start doing something that you're more passionate about?
I know we have more questions to get to, but this intrigues me. I mean, he's a business student.
Yep.
And college is expensive.
Yes.
So there's no going back now suddenly and going back and taking a sports major. So shouldn't he just continue on the trajectory and, get that job, in the financial sector. And then once he's kind of stable, then he could try to get involved with the school district and do some coaching for, I don't know, grade school, high school, something like that. I mean, he doesn't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater just because he's on this track, right?
That's what we would generally advise. Other people would advise differently, but I think that you probably can do both is the point. And maybe you nailed it, just like being a part-time coach.
But what if you can't? I mean, but it's also possible maybe you can't do both.
Well, yes, and I guess here's the key thing to watch out for.
I guess I'm just saying a lot of people, maybe 20, 30 years of their life has been on one trajectory path with a career, and they're not happy and they don't feel passion. And sometimes you can't just throw it all away because you did allow yourself to be led down this path. Or there's just some discovery after doing it for so long that there's something else that you're passionate about. So how do you make that shift without feeling like you've wasted all of that money or all of this time or all of these years?
When you look back on your life, so this would be the question I would ask the student, if you were that student, when you look back on your life, are you going to regret never having pursued being a coach?
It's just such a big question when you're young.
Here's the thing.
When you're young and he hasn't even experienced working in the financial sector, so he doesn't even know if that won't bring him happiness.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a senior in finance who's got a lot of experience dealing with financial things. Probably had an internship that put him, he's done financial positions. He knows what it's all about. I mean, this is not an uncommon thing for me to hear from my students. At that age, there are a lot of people thinking this. Now, here's the key thing to think about. It's not now or never. All right?
Okay.
But if you don't live your life with a sense of urgency, if you don't run your business with a sense of urgency, if you don't drive your career with a sense of urgency, nothing happens. You got to have that goal. So like maybe the answer for this person, this student, is to set a goal of in 5 years, I want to be a football coach. Now,
Right.
what's that look like? That means I'm going to have to really save up money. Okay, I got to watch how much I spend.
Right.
I got to take the money that I'm making in investment banking or whatever field I'm in, and I got to save a bunch of that so that I can afford to have a little time to develop myself into the coach I want to be.
Yeah.
And then I'm really successful as a coach, and I'm making money, but I'm really happy. I'm playing to my passion.
Well, it makes it really important to know the answer to this question,
Mm-hmm.
because then you can be directing your time, your efforts toward that passion.
Yes.
Even if you're doing something now that you're not passionate about.
Exactly. And I think entrepreneurs are really good. That's the thing, so we always tell people we bring entrepreneurship to life. We help you understand the concepts of entrepreneurship. And when you understand those concepts, you're able to run your life better. Well, this whole idea that I have to be pushing forward all the time, that's a very valuable mindset of an entrepreneur. But the thing to understand is just it doesn't mean that I'm going to go from, it's not all or nothing. That's the key thing. You can step into things, dip your toe into it, and that kind of thing.
All right. That's great. All right, we've got 3 more questions to ask yourself to find your definition of success. And the 4th one is, what do you need to achieve to feel good about yourself?
Yeah, there are levels, right? Some people are very happy being the follower. Some people are very happy being the leader. Some people are better at being the follower or the partner. And I'm going to use kind of a dated example, but it's such a good one. I can't help not sharing it. And, quite a few people in our audience are going to remember these days, but we're a couple hours south of Chicago. So the Chicago Bulls are our favorite professional basketball team,
Right.
Especially when Michael Jordan was there and, won all those
epic
titles.
years.
But there was a period of time where Michael Jordan was not playing with the Bulls and Scottie Pippen became the team leader. And Scottie Pippen, as the team leader, was not as good as Scottie Pippen with Michael Jordan. And so the next season, Michael Jordan came back. And I remember an interview with Michael Jordan, and they were talking about how hot Scottie Pippen was. And Michael Jordan's comment was, Scottie Pippen's the best player in basketball right now. The thing is, though, he wasn't the best player when he was the leader. He was the best player when he was a partner. And so I think there's something for you to realize is as you think about what you need to achieve to feel like you're a success, realize that it may not be all alone. I mean, I feel, Mary-Lynn, like you're a huge part of my success. You're my partner in business. You're my partner in life. I can't imagine it without you. That's the thing to understand is it's got to be your definition of what you want to achieve, not somebody else's.
Right. And as co-founders of Big Success, we both have our different strengths.
Sure.
And I don't want to try to have your strengths. I'm happy with the strengths that I have, right?
Right.
And so
I'm happy with them too.
I'm happy with the strengths you
Okay.
have. Another question to ask yourself, how will you measure success?
Yeah, I mean, is it fame? Is it fortune? Is it status? Is it power? Is it peace of mind? We say big success is peace of mind, which flows from 3 sources: finding and fulfilling your calling, striving daily to reach your full potential, and staying true to your vision and values. Well, that's how we define big success as peace of mind, which I think ultimately you might agree that that's a pretty good way of defining it because it keeps you out of trouble, but it also keeps you pushing for the right things. But, for some people, it's fame.
Right.
And the only thing I'll tell you about that is be careful what you wish for. I remember when we attended, I think, the second ever in the history of the world podcasting conference. And one of the people there had gotten quite a name for herself. And I just remember she said, fame without fortune really sucks. So you got to be careful here with this and just understand that it may be that power sounds great when we don't have it. Fortune sounds great. But I mean, all of these things do come with strings attached. And so you have to accept those strings along with the benefit.
And our last question to ask yourself for your definition of success is, what fulfills your purpose?
Yeah, you just heard us say that part of big success, one of the 3 key things that we include in our definition, it's to arrive at peace of mind. The three sources. The first one is to find and fulfill your calling.
Right.
So this is a critical part of our time on earth. And the thing to understand is a lot of times we see people in the movies or philosophers talking about, who am I? Well, we kind of think a more interesting question is to ask, why am I here? Why am I here? What's your purpose?
Well, what if you don't have that answer? What if you can't? If you don't
search
know?
for it.
I guess that's what you ask yourself all these
Exactly.
questions. Exactly.
This is part of getting
Right.
there, because we're defining your definition of success, and that's, we need to define that before we start off, because it helps us understand what's the destination. What are we trying
Right.
to get to?
And only you know or can know the answers to these questions that we've just gone through.
And that's as it should be, because recognition and adulation, those things are great, right? They're nice, but they're empty on their own, like a straw with no ice cream soda.
And you're the supreme judge of your own success,
That's
not
right.
those other people out there.
Yeah, your opinion, it's not just nice, it's necessary. It's a critical part of the equation. It's the ice cream soda, for crying out loud. And your opinion of your big success is the only opinion that really matters.
What does big success look like to you? Think about the questions that we brought up today in this podcast episode. Consider them. Write down your answers. Heck, you can even brainstorm with us. If you want to, just reach out to us through the contact form on our contact page at Big Success. That's big with 2 G's, success.com.
And we thank you so much for listening to our show today.
Until next time,
Here's to your big success.
Find big success at biggsuccess.com.